Hi, my name is Emily. I am a faithful follower of Christ, and I have an addicted brain. My brain, let's see, I am addicted to, hi, my name is Emily. I'm a faithful follower of Christ, and I am addicted to, is that how I say this? I'm addicted to sugar, flour, binging. I'm addicted to dieting and restaurants. These are things that have literally caused, I would say I could probably add alcohol to that, or I'm not addicted to alcohol, but what I'm wanting to say is I would probably easily become addicted to alcohol. It's just never been my drug of choice. Social media. I've been sober off social media, and I've dipped my toe into it a couple times here or there and thought, not worth it, not worth it, not worth it. YouTube is as social media as I get. I've been off Facebook since 2009. When I say addicted, I mean dopamine down regulation, where I had to do more and more and more to get the same utility, the same enjoyment that I did in the beginning. So sugar, flour, binging, dieting. I've dieted for 25, 30 years, no more. I'm in recovery from dieting. And restaurants. I became an accidental addict. I have a video called Accidental Addict. I became an accidental addict. There's somebody pulling up behind me, and I'm clearly pulled over on the side of the road. I thought it was clear. Okay, they're catching on. Hello, watch my video. I'm kidding. You can if you want. I became an accidental addict, forcing myself to keep going, not fueling myself to keep going. And I did that using sugar, flour, binging, and restaurants. I turned to restaurants to cope with life and connect with those around me. And that not only caused a problem, but it caused dopamine to downregulate. I'd get excited, where are we going to eat? And then it was almost like, instead of it being a fun treat, it became absolutely part of our MO, how we operated. We've probably kept the restaurant industry, I'm kidding, we haven't kept it in going, but we have contributed to it. Lots of our finances have gone to restaurants. So I'm addicted to a whole host of things. This video is a word on words and a message about messaging, and I'm excited to share it because what I love doing is I love allowing God to use me to bring some clarity and awareness. And I pray that this video will do just that. Yes, what I'm about to talk about are businesses, and there's people working for them that need to feed their families. So I get it, it's a business. But I want us to be awake and aware of what's happening, how manipulative it is, how dangerous it is, how destructive it is, and how it's so deceitful. Ephesians 4:22-24, we got to put off the old, put on the new self, because the old self is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, filled with deceit. I want to walk in love. I want to operate in love. I want to speak the truth in love. I want to, 1 John 4:8, God is love. And then Jesus tells us in John 14:6, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. I want more of truth and love and life in my life. So without further ado, I have, I believe, 5 examples. But what I would love for you to do is start to notice. And if you do start to notice, share with us in the comments below. Share something that you noticed. My goodness, the messaging is so blatant. It's so blatant. It's not even, they're not even trying to hide that they're wanting to sell us emotions. And not only can they not do that, we cannot go out there and purchase happiness. It comes from within, and it's Jesus. Jesus is the joy we're seeking. He is the peace we're after. That cannot be purchased. But not only are they telling us that it can be, they're lying, because you and I both know that while we might experience momentary pleasure as the chemicals in our brain are manipulated because sugar and flour and caffeine and nicotine and alcohol, the list goes on. These are drugs that manipulate the chemicals in our brain. We might momentarily feel happy because we're high, but the cons outweigh the pros heavily. It's not worth the price. We hand over our money to receive a couple moments. And as dopamine is downregulated, the happiness is already over. A lot of times we have more dopamine being rushed through our brain just thinking about what we're about to engage in. And by the time we finally do, it falls so short. It falls so flat. It hits our tongue and our taste buds, and our bodies cannot even produce any more dopamine because it was already pumped out on our way to the gas station, on our way to the fast food restaurant, on our way to the restaurant. Fill in the blank. On our way to the behavior we're addicted to. And I'm telling you, it's a whole lot more than sugar and flour. I can think right now, and I'm not going to list them. There's so many behaviors that we're struggling with being addicted to. And it's a false promise. It's filled with deceit. By the time we engage in the activity, a lot of times with other human beings, a lot of times it has to do with handing our money over. The dopamine, literally, the dopamine in our brain has already been released, and our body cannot pump out more. But we continue to seek the happiness and the joy and the peace in all the wrong places. So here are 5 examples of deceitful and deceit-filled messages. Dairy Queen's slogan is "Happy tastes good." I noticed months ago, this is printed on their materials, their bags, their cups, their blizzards. Happy tastes good. For one thing, no, it doesn't. Ding, ding, ding. Happy doesn't have a flavor. Happy doesn't happen in our mouth. It happens in our heart. So that's just simply not true. Happy tastes good. What they're wanting us to believe is that Reese's Blizzard is going to allow me to taste happiness and feel happy. That's a lie. Number 2, about a year ago, I started noticing the energy drinks, the little tiny bottles right there at the gas station, right there at the counter. Notice they're all right there with other drugs, nicotine. I started noticing these little bottles. One slogan in particular here in my small town, the slogan said something to the effect of, drink, feel happy, repeat. Those 3. Drink, something along those lines, repeat. And I thought, wow, their messaging is telling us that if we drink that, we'll feel a certain way. We will feel high, and then we will feel awful, and we will be dependent on something outside of us that wants our money. The term energy drink is a lie in itself. Food gives us energy. Calories are energy. The definition of food is something that promotes growth and sustains life. These manufactured synthetic powders that they put in these little bottles, that's not energy. That's a recipe for addiction, to where then we need it. I love the definition of addiction. First, you take it to feel good, and then you take it to feel normal. because this outside substance has caused our own baseline to become so low that we now need this crap. Excuse my language, I'm getting all passionate about this. I said, the word crap. I'll stop. I was gonna say the C word, but there's worse C words than that. Where was I? We've become to where we need this garbage, these man-made drugs, to help us feel as good as we did before we got hooked on them. Think about that for a moment. They literally cause our baseline to decrease. We used to take them to feel good. Now we need them. Quote unquote need. We need them. We believe we need them to feel normal. And in one sense we do, because we're addicted. Accidentally, by the way. I don't know that there's probably too many people that would consider themselves purposeful addicts. I'm an accidental addict. A lot of people don't realize what they're doing, getting addicted to different substances. We don't need anything but Jesus Christ, our maker, our creator, and whatever he tells us we need. And I like to think often, I have everything I need to do everything he's asking me to do. Okay, so Dairy Queen, happy tastes good. Energy drinks, telling us to drink them, feel happy, and ding, 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 repeat. They are dependent on us, becoming dependent on them to repeat over and over and over and over. Until what? What's the stopping point? It's insatiable. And we cannot expect them to tell us, drink, feel happy, repeat. And then finally you'll be happy enough and you won't need to anymore. They're going to take more and more. They're going to take as much as we'll give them. Number 4. Excuse me, is that right? Number 3. Chocolate. Just walk into any Walgreens, walk into any gas station, walk into any Walmart or Kroger grocery store. Look at the names of the chocolate and you will start to see some of them, especially the finer chocolates, the more expensive forms of sugar and flour, the more expensive, the fancy forms of these white powders are called things like bliss. The words on the packaging are names and terms of emotions. That's a false promise. They're saying if you eat this, you will feel this way. No, you'll feel pretty rough if you eat too much of it. And I have eaten too much of it. I am addicted to sugar, flour, and binging on sugar and flour. And it has absolutely wrecked my system at times. I started to think, maybe I'm addicted about 4 years ago when I got up in the middle of the night to get a drink of water. And instead of getting a drink of water, I ate an entire box of chocolates. Maybe sugar is addictive. It is. It's 8 times more addictive than cocaine. Dairy Queen, energy drinks, chocolate. My daughter's cotton candy. That's why I'm making this video. Last night, my daughter's cotton candy. I bought her some and then we went on to church. It was really fun, just her and I. She did well, by the way. You know how cotton candy comes in like 3 colors usually? She ate one color and then she whispered to me, Mama, she ate the pink. She said, I'm gonna eat the purple tomorrow and the yellow the next day. And I thought, hallelujah, my little Mary. So proud of her. I tell my kids, you can consume sugar and flour, just don't use it. I used it. I can remember having 3 little babies. I was teaching school full time at the academy. Every kid in my class was kicked out of the middle school and high school. It was severe behavior disorders I was working with and helping these kids work through. We had to like pat them down every morning and make sure they didn't have guns. We got kids from all over the state that had committed serious crimes. People used to ask me, do you like working there? And I say, yes, as long as I got a good night's sleep the night before, because these kids, they're ready for me. I got to be ready for them. I was also taking a night classes 2 hours away from my home. It was a lot. So I'd stop at the gas station. I would never get 5 Snickers. That'd be crazy, right? So I would get Snickers, chips, maybe an ice cream, maybe a fountain drink, and then always, so that I was being healthy, get some peanuts or something along those lines. I would take those 5 things and I would sit at my desk and I would consume them while typing and type 20-page papers. It was an upper. I was using this sugar and flour to keep me going and going and going. I gained 100 pounds and a couple college degrees and 5 kids, and it's amazing. It is absolutely amazing what all God got done. He also, in the midst of it, made it very clear to me that I was gaining that weight for a reason. I never, ever, it was difficult, it was uncomfortable, it was disheartening. It was hard to visit people that hadn't seen me in a while and think, well, how much have I gained since then? How shocked are they gonna be? And just face all that. Face people like knowing they probably notice the weight gain. It was difficult, but it was so good for me. I learned to set my ego aside because I thought, you know what? I am not working for them. Colossians 3:23, let us work for the Lord, not for man. And it was good for me. It was character building, but God always let me know, you're gaining this weight. And I used to tell Greg, I said, Greg, I have a feeling I'm supposed to be gaining this weight. I'm supposed to be gaining this weight. I thought yesterday, it's almost as if God had me in a cocoon for about 15 years. I used to tell Greg, I believe I'm supposed to be gaining this weight so that I can lose it and help other people lose it. I never in my wildest dreams, Habakkuk 1:5, God tells us, if you knew what I was doing, there's Habakkuk 1:5. It's a good one. I'll find it. God said, if you knew what I was doing in the nations in your time, I'm going to read it. He said you couldn't even imagine it. I had no idea. I've laughed with my pastor about this before. I had no idea that, yes, I might be helping people lose weight, just teaching them what I've learned. I don't take credit. Excuse me, that's probably down here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? But it's been so much more than that. So much more than that. God cracks me up. I did not realize this whole journey would be so much more than that. I would love to lead people into weight loss, people that need to be led into weight loss, but I'd so much rather lead people to Jesus Christ. There's so much more going on than just what's happening with these bodies we're in. Habakkuk 1:5, look at the nations and watch and be utterly amazed, for I am going to do something in your days that you would not believe even if you were told. I believe that. So, Mary got this cotton candy, and I noticed, I'm going to show you a picture of it here in a minute. I noticed the package literally said, a bag of fun that's hand spun. It literally says a bag of fun. I say often, you all hear me, if you listen to my videos, you hear me often say, I don't want the fuel to be the fun. I don't want the gas station to be the main event. There's so much more to experience than what we chew and swallow. For one thing, there's better things to experience chewing and swallowing. I had Leslie Sansone, anybody ever did her videos, her walking videos? She's where I learned sugar and salt are not flavors. Those are not flavors. There are flavors for us to experience, but far beyond. We have 5 senses, 5 ways that God's allowing us to experience this life around us. If what we're chewing and swallowing is lighting our brains up in an addictive way, it's about the only thing that's going to light our brains up, which leads me to the 5th one. Skippy! 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 I'm linking 2 commercials below. Skippy is now telling us to go to our Skippy place. And I watched this commercial the other night of this girl. I thought it was the mother. It's the aunt. She's sitting on the floor letting kids play with her hair while she's in her Skippy place eating peanut butter. Peanut butter of all things. For us that struggle with binging, a lot of us literally turn to peanut butter. Especially Jif. Watch out. Sugar is the number 2 ingredient. That's why I have switched to natural peanut butter. And the only ingredient is peanuts. But watch these commercials or if not, just let me describe for you. This woman sitting on the floor while there are human beings around her, and Skippy's literally telling us to disengage with the human beings and get lost in eating. They're telling us to find our happy place in peanut butter, rather than seizing the opportunity to spend quality time with those around us. I have 5 kids. I'm thrilled that they're all in school right now. I get to run 12 errands today. I'm actually parked on the side of the road, headed to the doctor's office to find out if I am allergic to dairy. I'm not sure. I'll report back. But I'm well aware that when I'm with them, especially with 5 kids, kid number 4 made me realize I better not spend my day yelling at them, because with some of them, I'm only with them about 9 minutes a day. And now that 2 of them are teenagers with their driver's licenses, that's more true than ever. When I'm with them, I want to be with them. And Skippy Peanut Butter is telling us the opposite. It's so blatant. They're saying, while there's a child doing your hair, just sit there and eat. Of course, they make it look cute and fun and benign, but it's not. That messaging is destructive. The other commercial is a couple sitting on their couch, and while their dog is destroying their home, they're just sitting there eating peanut butter. That is a momentary escape. You might feel better in the moment, but if you use peanut butter to cope with life, you're going to have a dog that's neglected and a home that's destroyed. It's not comfortable to engage and get to work, but it is worth it. If you start to notice any of this messaging, please share. I'd be interested, and I'd love to know that God might use me. I'd love to know that He had used me to help Him get the message out about messaging. Help Him get His word out there, which is the truth. Hebrews 4:12, His word is living and active. It's sharper than a double-edged sword. It can divide soul and spirit, bone and marrow, and it can read our thoughts. I had a friend compliment me. I'm smiling because we've been texting this morning. It was funny. Smooch. That's my new nickname, Smooch. She put Smooch on a comment. This is Cassie, whatever. I'll just go and say, Cassie, hey girl. Cassie left me a comment and she put Smooch, and I thought she was calling me Smooch. And I thought, she said, Smooch, your self-awareness is incredible. Thank you for that, Cassie. She didn't. She put asterisk. If you leave a comment, here's a little, I learned this. If you leave a YouTube comment and you put asterisk, smooch, asterisk, you think you're doing like a little like smooch or like cute, like kissy face or like cough, wink, asterisk. What YouTube does with asterisk is turns it into bold print. So she said smooch, and then I thought she was like, Smooch, your self-awareness. And I was like, I've never had anybody call me Smooch before, but I like it. Anyways, we've been cracking up about that. She said your self-awareness is incredible. Thank you for that. Thank you for the compliment. And what I truly believe is that it is a spiritual sensitivity. So while, yes, I'm aware of my own behaviors, it's not so much self-awareness as it is God awareness and Satan awareness. Let's be awake and aware. I put out a video yesterday called Flee All Sorts of Temptation. And that video starts, I will link that video below. And that video starts with me quoting 4 scriptures about Satan and temptation. Yes, let's be self-aware, but let's be aware of God's goodness and His presence in our life. And let's be aware of the enemy's presence in our life. And those are 2 very real presences. Presences. My kids are about to get a bunch of presences. Okay, if you start to notice some messaging and think, ding, 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 that's deceitful, please share below. I'd be very interested to hear it. Also, the Woe Is She reading number 6, I read this morning, and it's just amazing that the way God, this is not me, but the way he's divinely orchestrating all of this on this channel. Let me read to you Ephesians 4:17 through 19 that I just read this morning on the Woe Is She reading number 6. This is Paul talking to the church of Ephesus. Look how I love Paul. I love the way he speaks. He's just real to the point. He said, so I tell you this and insist on it in the Lord that you must no longer live as the Gentiles do in the futility of their thinking. Futility. It's just futile. It's just a futile, without purpose. When I think of futile, I just think of just a waste of time. So he says they are darkened in their understanding and separated from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them due to the hardening of their hearts, having lost all sensitivity. They have given themselves over to sensuality, so as to indulge in every kind of impurity with a continual lust for more. That last sentence says so much. They have ironically, now look at this, these two words, sensitivity and sensuality. They're very similar words. They have ironically, by giving themselves over with a continual lust for more to every kind of impurity and sensuality, something that's very sensual. Their 5 senses are involved. Ironically, desensitizes them because their bodies cannot handle all that. It causes dopamine to downregulate, which is why they have lost all sensitivity. The irony is unmistakable, undeniable. And I find it fascinating that while we're seeking pleasure and experience, it's actually having the opposite effect on us. It's causing us to become desensitized to where we can no longer even experience the gifts that God has for us. I love you dearly. I'm headed to the allergy doctor. Speaking of sensitivity, I just might have a sensitivity to dairy. We'll see. That's it for now. Enjoy these pictures of Mary's cotton candy. And enjoy this day, this beautiful day that God has given us. It rained so hard last night. It blew the roof off of one of our buildings that has semis up underneath it. I'm grateful the sun is shining and we can get to work. I love you dearly. Let's talk again soon.